My name is Cameron Kempson, and you may have seen my name on some of the courses you're taking. I am the Director of Education for Shift and work on the content and website. And so part of my opportunity that I enjoy doing is facilitating education, conversation around these topics related to technology first. So I will be co-hosting, co-facilitating these Q&A webinars each month, and I'm going to hand it over to Dustin.
Yeah, thank you, Cameron.
Yeah.
My name is Dustin Wright. I'm the founder of Disability Cocoon, which is partnered with Simply Home to create Shift. I've been involved in tech and disability services my entire life, and actually the presentation that I put together here today is designed to give you just some examples of what's out there. You know, the Shift curriculum does a great job in helping you to identify kind of best practices in, identifying technologies in a person-centered way to support that person and some structure on how to integrate those things, but wanted to just give you some solutions. So that's kind of the purpose of today. And we're going to go through both some solutions that you can just kind of go buy off the shelf, as well as some solutions that were really designed for people with intellectual developmental disabilities. So I like to start with this slide, and I'm sure that all of you that are going through Shift probably know a lot of this information, but I think it's good to hit on it. And I always like to start with a big hypothesis here. And the hypothesis is that that technology will have sorry, my dog's going nuts. Somebody probably just delivered a package. That technology will have as big of an impact on our industry as deinstitutionalization did in previous generations. So if you can remember 20, 30, 40 years ago when people were living in state institutions and the waivers were created, there was a lot of hesitancy by professionals involved in the field and families and everybody. How is somebody with a disability going to live out in the community in their own home, and how are we going to keep them safe? They need to be here in this facility. Well, that was a huge change in how services were provided and drastically improved the lives of people with disabilities. And I really feel that technology has the potential to have that big of an impact on how we work in the industry, but also just the quality of life improvement for people. So I think that tech will eventually become the new norm. It's still somewhat of an anomaly, right? It's not in every state's waiver, but it is becoming more prevalent in the industry. I think it will become kind of the new norm that people do go to technology first before other service options. There are more and more funding options. More states are funding technology. There are right now, I think 21 states that are funding remote supports as an example. About 75 to 80% of the states are funding assistive technology. Many states are, like Tennessee, are looking to create new funding options that they're calling enabling technology, which is a term you're probably very familiar with in Shift. So there's more and more funding options that will also kind of be fuel to the fire here. Obviously, we all know about the workforce shortages, and technology is obviously a great tool to help agencies address those workforce shortages. As we've talked about in Shift, the technology can be used as a natural support for that person, in lieu of having to have a DSP hired 24 hours a day for all times that the person needs support. But also that DSP role, their workforce, their expectations are somewhat different today. The labor pool that you're probably pulling from are people that have grown up with technology from day one. That tech is a part of their life. That's how they interact with their peers, and they interact through that technology in different ways than maybe we do. And so I think that for that labor pool is going to have expectations that the companies that they go work for, provider agencies, service coordination agencies, etc., have to have some form of technology incorporated in how they operate, but also how they provide support, or else those people just aren't going to identify with those agencies, and it's going to be tougher to recruit them and keep them. So tech will help us kind of stand out and be more attractive to that workforce. It's also going to allow us to refocus our support activities. I started in this field as a DSP, and I can tell you that 30% of my time, probably when I was working in a home, was documentation and policy, compliance and trainings and those kinds of things. And all of that stuff is obviously very, very important, but technology will allow us to streamline some of those things so that our DSPs and caregivers can actually focus more back on the person as opposed to regulatory compliance and those types of things. I think we're going to also see tech give us lots of data that we haven't had before, patterns and trends and routines within that person's life are going to be easier to capture, which will give us more information to provide better care to people. So the data will give us some insights. The tech data will eventually be giving us some insights that we just don't have today on the people that we're serving. Less waste, we've kind of talked about this. Our industry has never really focused much on efficiencies. If we were manufacturing, that would be the bottom line of what we do is we want to be more efficient, but we don't because we're human services. And I think tech will help us become a little bit more efficient and connected to prevent waste in the system. Then we can serve more people with the dollars that we have in our waiver systems. So everything that I've said so far, you can kind of forget about it and throw it out the window. That stuff doesn't matter unless we do this first, which is a fundamental principle in Shift, that we have to stay focused on the person and their needs and their desires and their preferences and build solutions around that. If we focus on any of the other benefits that I just talked about first, before we do this, then the technology is not going to work and it's not going to be done in the right way. So just some, reasons that I think tech is really important. So then I wanted to kind of transition into giving you guys some ideas on some off-the-shelf solutions, some things that you can go out and buy from Amazon or Best Buy, et cetera, et cetera. So the first one is what I call it private voiceover. And I'm going to show you a couple of different things here. So one are these Bose frames, and I'm going to go ahead and click the video here and then I'll kind of describe it. So as you can see, those are just sunglasses, but they're Bluetooth. They have a speaker in back by the ear, and they connect to your phone, tablet, whatever, by Bluetooth. Well, so that's something you can go get at Best Buy. So how does that apply to a person with a disability? Well, there are in your iPhone or in any device, there's VoiceOver, which is this. Okay, so if you can imagine combining that voiceover feature with the sunglasses with the ear, the speaker back here in your ear, it's going to allow that person to scroll through their email, their text messages, whatever it is that they're doing on their phone, and not have to have that speaker blaring out loud where other people can hear it. So, and look kind of cool while they do it. Another really cool thing that is out there is bridging apps. If you haven't seen this, this is actually embedded inside of the Shift platform. If you go to Find Text Solutions in the menu, I think that's what it says, something like that. We do have their search built into the platform. Sorry, no audio is coming through. Okay, I can fix that, I think. Cameron, can you, as the co-host, can you turn the audio share on in the thing so that,
let's see.
Actually, I got it. Sorry, thank you for letting me know that was not happening.
And Dustin, while you're doing that, there was a question about all of the things that you're going to talk about today. Will there be a list or a place that people can find without having to watch the webinar where they can get this information?
What I can do is I can put links to all of these inside of the presentation, and then I can send it out to all of the attendees if that works.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, and actually, Cameron, I can't find that. I can talk over the videos that are in here. So, But really, bridging apps is amazing. You basically, what you do is you go, these are all apps that have been pre-screened by the folks at Bridging Apps. Bridging Apps was created by the Arc of Greater Houston. So they go out and they look through the app stores and they screen these apps and test them and ensure that they are able to be used to support people with disabilities, and they categorize them. So you can get in and search by the type of app that you want, and it will display several different options for you. I kind of like this one. It's pretty simple and it's nothing new or fancy, but you know, these RFID locks are getting extremely cheap now and simple to install, where you could get these RFID locks to be placed on medicine cabinets, documentation, offices, maybe to lock up sharps, those kinds of things. And you know, allow people that are not able to physically manipulate a key because of dexterity issues to be able to lock and unlock you know, those types of things that they want to. So it can be used as both from a provider perspective, but also from an individual's perspective to allow easier access based on their, you know, their abilities. Ring is a very good one. I'm sure that everybody's heard of Ring, and I know that it is pretty widely used around the country to support people with disabilities. They've got a variety of different types of cameras. They're typically wireless, so just connect right up to the Wi-Fi, and then can detect motion, push alerts out to people on their phone. You can obviously view live video from them, and you can actually talk through them. So you could almost use it as a way to, you know, jump in and interact with that individual if necessary. Also great for visitors, where you can have a camera outside of the door, and you know, when somebody rings the doorbell, obviously the individual then on a tablet or their phone can see who's out there before they even open the door. So good way to kind of screen visitors. This is kind of a silly one. I probably shouldn't even put it in here, but it's kind of cool. So what, and I'll talk over this since you're not going to be able to hear it, but what this is it's a device that people can use to play music. It's got little beams of light that are going between those two towers, and you can see that gentleman was playing music by just moving his hands between those different towers on the system there. So it's being used, I've seen it used in some day settings and some other places as kind of a therapeutic tool. It helps some individuals with autism calm and those kinds of things. Plus, it's just kind of fun. I've played with it myself. Have you, I'm sure everybody's seen the plethora of smart things that are out in the market today. These are a great option to give people that cannot manipulate their environment because of a physical disability, the ability to manipulate their environment with their voice by combining some of these smart things like switches and lights and plugs in with an Alexa, those types of things, or you know, Google Home, whatever it is. And they can speak to, you know, turn their TV on, change the television channel, those types of things. If you haven't used a smart plug, those are pretty amazing because you can basically make any device smart by just, you know, plugging the plug in and then plugging the device into the plug. So there's even, I didn't realize this until a few weeks ago, there's a smart garage door. So if the garage door opens, it will push an alert, just like that Ring video doorbell. You can see it's got a camera on there. You can see who's coming and going. When I was running some group homes, this would have been great to see when the van is coming and going, or you know, if there's an individual that you're supporting that maybe goes out the garage to smoke, this is a way that you could get an alert when it's smoke time and make sure that the person is safe and staying in the area that they need to be in. So just kind of a different way to use those devices that were not really designed for our population, but have application. This is kind of another silly one. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, phone soap. So the device that she's looking at right there is a device that's used to sanitize a phone. So it's got UV lights inside of it, which you'll see here in just a second. And when you place the phone inside of there, the UV lights kill all the germs and bacteria and the coronavirus off of the phone. So, you know, if you have individuals in a home that are sharing devices to, you use a lot of these enabling technologies, or if they have one themselves, just a great way to kind of, keep those dirty phones clean. This is a kind of a future-looking example. I actually saw the CSpace people out at the Consumer Electronics Show about a year ago, and what they've created is an algorithm that can do facial recognition. And you're not buying a camera with facial recognition. You're buying access to their algorithm that you can load onto pretty much any type of camera that's on the market today. So what a great way to get, and it can push alerts. So if an unknown person is at the door, it can push an alert. Or if it's staff Sally walking in the door, it'll see that it's Sally and not have to worry. It won't push those alerts. So, a great way to kind of know who's coming and going within a home, especially when you have a lot of staff coming in and out and visitors and that kind of thing, to keep people safe, especially during, Corona time. Who's been in and out of the house, so that you can kind of track those types of things to, if there was somebody that had Corona. I can even see some potential uses in the future for verification. What better than, hey, your face was here. I can tell that you are on the premises, walking in or walking out, and get those in and out timestamps. So I think you're going to see things like this start to occur. This is another device that I found at the Consumer Electronics Show. Unfortunately, I don't know if they're still in business, but there are many things like this, so we'll kind of go through it. What it is almost like a door sensor. Like you see it hanging on a door handle there. What it does is it's not like a door sensor where you have to have one piece on the door and one piece on the frame, and then when they separate, those are great, they work well, but you've got to install those things, and it's not portable. So with this one, you can move it from door to door, and when a door opens, it actually feels the motion of that door opening, and can push an alert out to someone. The other great thing about this is that it has smoke detection and carbon monoxide detection as well, which I think is on my next slide. And the center of this thing here, there's a call button so this thing can act like a PERS device, and the person can speak through that to someone outside the home or outside the door. So the example that they gave on their website was, this is a security system that you could basically take with you wherever you're going. So if you're spending the night in a hotel, if that person's in a hotel, they can take it with them to the hotel, and it's not something that has to be, permanently mounted in their home. This is another device very similar to the one that we just looked at. It's just a little dot. You stick it on the door. Again, it's going to detect the motion and can push alerts out to people so that they know when their door is opening. This is a really great one, and I wish the audio was working here, and I apologize. I need to check my Zoom settings, I guess. Microsoft Seeing AI is a very, very powerful app for people that are blind or low vision. It's free also. And what it can do is you download the app, and it uses the camera inside of the phone to do all of the things that you can see on your screen here. It can read text, read documents. It can actually scan barcodes on products. So if you're grocery shopping, hold it up to that can on the shelf, and it'll tell you this is a can of green beans or corn or whatever, right? Can even read currency. So as a transaction is happening at a store, and you hand the person a 20 and they hand you back a 1, you can see that, oh, it's a 1, that should have been a 5, right? Or, those kinds of things. It can actually detect scenes and tell that person what is happening around them. So you hold the phone up and move it around, and it'll say, room with blue walls, sofa, and TV in the corner, that type of thing. It can also detect people around you and recognize faces. So it can tell you, hey, this is Aunt Sally, or this person is a female with brown hair and glasses. The other thing that it can do is expressions. So for those folks with autism that aren't the best at judging expression on a face, they can, this thing could actually do that as well. Lights, colors, it can even read handwriting, assuming it's got to have some sort of, it has to be a little bit legible, but it can do those things. So those are kind of some off-the-shelf I just glanced up at the chat and somebody said, I activated their, I won't say it again, Laura. All right, so those were kind of some off-the-shelf things that I wanted to show you. There are also some, obviously some very amazing things that are being developed by companies specifically for the market and the people that we serve, the intellectual and developmental disability market. So we're gonna kind of run through some of these here real quick. This is a seizure app. It's developed by Smart Monitor is the name of the company. But if you Google smartwatch, you'll find it. It runs on any platform and a variety of different just off-the-shelf smartwatches. The big feature is that it detects abnormal motion. So they can't, I was talking to them about this, they said the FDA will not let them say that it detects seizures, but that's the motion that it detects. So it's a seizure detecting watch. Also has, can do some of the other things that all the smart watches can do, track sleeping, heart rate, GPS location, can act as a mobile PERS button. They can press a button to get help. And they said video is coming soon. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to happen, but where you could actually look through the thing. There are a variety of different automated medication dispensers on the market. And I'm going to show you a couple examples here. This is Dose, a company out of Minnesota. The reason I like this one, it's very small and compact. It's fits in the palm of your hand, but can hold about 14 doses of medication. So it's locked. It will dispense the drugs at the right time. It's smart, so it's connected to the internet. If a medication is missed, it can push an alert out. It can send an alert if it's tampered with, those kinds of things. Another one, oh, did I not have that one in there? I didn't, okay. I might have it here later, but there's another one called Livy that I really like. So the Dose is really great for an individual. But obviously if you're have a home with multiple individuals, you may or may not want to have multiple Dose devices. You may want to just have one device that can dispense medications for everyone. And Livy, L-I-V-I, is a device that can do that. Kind of looks like a Keurig coffee machine, but all the medications for everybody are loaded in there. And then when the person walks up, it'll say, hey, Tom, it's your med time, come take your meds, and it'll dispense Tom's meds. I've even seen some of them out there, and I need to go back and find it again, that have facial recognition built into them. So if Bob walks up to the machine and tries to take the medication, it's not going to dispense those drugs because it's Tom's medication time. So those things are really amazing. Nucleus is another really neat device. It's a tablet that is used for audio and video communication. So the primary purpose is the individual can walk over to this screen and hit a button to talk to their caregivers or talk to mom or talk to sister. And you can call the device remotely through an app on your phone, or mom on her phone can call this device in the person's home to have that face-to-face communication. And they've designed it to have a very simple user interface for the population that we're serving, and can be customized to that person's abilities. So some of the features like the Alexa integration, I'm sorry, Laura, I probably just did it again. Some of those other features can be activated if appropriate for the person, or deactivated so that the screen doesn't become too confusing. This is a really neat thing from a company called AbleLink out in Colorado. AbleLink has a variety of different solutions, but I wanted to show you the one that they had for transportation. They call it the Wayfinder, and it's an app that the person uses themselves to help them navigate their communities and in public transportation. So it will give the person step-by-step instructions. Step one is make sure you locked your door. Is your door locked? Oh yeah, okay. Walk down the street to the bus stop, and here's a picture of the bus stop. And then it'll give them instructions, wait here for your bus. It'll show them the picture of their bus so that they know which one it is. Give them it's bus 17 or whatever. And then, once the person gets on the bus, it's got GPS that's tracking them, and the GPS will tell that person, hey, you're almost to your bus stop. Pull the, the little cord so that you can let the driver know that you need to stop. So it's a way for people to navigate the public transportation system without having to have a staff person riding along all the time. This is another solution for people that are blind or low vision. It's called Way Around, and as you can see, there are little tags that you can place on things, on cans, on walls. They have some that can be attached to fabric. And then what you do is you just use your phone, QR scanner, the Way Around app, and scan these little codes, and it'll tell you, what that is. So obviously this is going to be, there's a person scanning it, and it's telling them that it's cannellini beans. Or if they put a tag on their shirts, it can say that's the blue shirt in your closet, or that's the green polo, or whatever. So just to help people identify those things, I think it would be really cool to see these types of solutions become commonplace in public and required in public, like Braille is, on elevators, et cetera, to help people. Where's the bath? Is this the men's bathroom? It's a women's bathroom. And the company is pushing that. Obviously, that's a pretty big lift and probably a long process, but they're pushing for that. This is one where I am going to let this video play, because the video, you don't even need to see the sound. You can just watch the video and kind of get a sense on what this does. But it helps to, well, I guess, come on. Where's the video? Here we go. Let's get forward here where you can actually see it. So it's a spoon that is a self-leveling spoon, so that a person with tremors or shakes or limited dexterity can use the spoon and feed themselves instead of having to have somebody else feed them. As you can see, the person can move their hand around in any direction, and the spoon stays level. Looks like there's a fork as well. So, it's just a great way to give people that independence of being able to put the bite in their mouth themselves. I'm going to turn this section over. This is Simply Home, and I'm going to turn this part over to Cameron, since we have the Simply Home expert on here today.
Thanks. So there's so much in this slide right here that I'll just encourage you to go to our website, which is simply-home.com, and I'll put that in the chat box in just a minute. Basically, what we do is utilize wireless sensors to set up people's routines or mimic the routines that they tell us they have. And then the sensors will then notify if someone does something outside of the routine or forgets something as a part of that routine. So, for example, if someone gets out of bed at night and goes to the bathroom and doesn't make it back to the bed in 10 minutes, then someone can be alerted to let them know there's possibly been a fall. The other great thing that we do to support independence and really create that enabling technology piece is providing internal prompts within the home itself, so that people can be reminded, turn your stove off, or when you go in your bedroom at night between 10 and 11 p.m., put your CPAP machine on. That way, they're not having to depend on other individuals and can truly experience that opportunity for dignity of risk and independence. Does that capture what you want, Dustin?
Wonderful. Thanks, Cameron. Sorry to put you on the spot there.
Yeah, gladly.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Simply Home is one of the, they're one of the tech companies that have been in this field the longest, and obviously based on the curriculum that we've created with Shift, have the right approach to tech. So here's a picture of that Livy medication dispenser. I'm not sure how my slides got out of order here, but you can see that it, you can fill this thing up with medication for everybody, and it dispenses meds for the whole home. It kind of looks like a Keurig sitting on the kitchen counter or wherever.
Hey, Dustin.
Yeah.
Before you move on, my question about that is, does that come out in a cup? Like, how are they accessing the meds?
I am not sure on this device. It looks like there's a little tray there that is pulled out.
Great.
But yeah, there are some that will dispense into little cups and things. So yeah, the dispensing option is a big thing when you're looking at these.
So it looks like Laura shared with us that you use your own med cup. Okay,
Use your
thanks,
own med
Laura.
cup. Thank you,
Yeah.
Laura. Looks like my video froze. Let me see if I can fix that here real quick. I had a strange expression on my face, so I had to get that off there. I don't know if you guys have heard of the health risk screening tool. It is a medical screening tool that where a nurse sits down and goes through this online screening tool with the individuals to help identify risks of illness and health or destabilization. They've tried to design this so that you can be proactive as well as preventive. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I have heard really amazing things from the people that are using it, that it's a great tool to help facilitate the healthcare and to identify things that we may not think of every day that could become a risk for that person, and we can plan around that. And you can track health information inside of here. So a little different. This is Angel Sense, and I'm sure most of you have probably heard of Angel Sense, but it is a GPS tracker for children. It's there's several different ways that the device is attached, and one way is that it can be in a belt that kind of goes around the child's waist. Obviously, some kids are not going to like the feeling of that, so they've designed a way that you can actually clip it onto clothing, and it cannot be removed by the child. There's a special tool that you have to use. Obviously, when you're looking at things like this, you have lots of kind of human rights type things that you're going to need to be thinking of. But the stories coming from Angel Sense are pretty amazing. Families that have kind of some peace of mind that they know that their kid got out of school and got onto the school bus and is on his or her way home. You can set up geofences with this so that if they leave a certain area, it can push an alert. So if they leave the area of their school, for whatever reason, they elope or get out of the school. The video on here is a little heavy, but I'm not even going to play it. It's a mother who lost a child after they eloped, and so. Anyway, if you have individuals with elopement issues, that's a potentially great tool. Creatability is another company that has created several different options, and I wanted to kind of show you this one here. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think I fixed the audio.
Hi, I'm David Jackson with the Patents Project. I'm the new Assistant Director and Specialist covering augmented
Wrong video. This is Ava Talk.
communication and orthopedic.
Back up here so we can see this. This is called Ava Talk, and it is almost like a telehealth type of service. As you can see, it runs on a tablet that's in the home, and what this thing will do is ask the person specific questions about their health and wellness. So, hey Tom, it's and this little avatar on the screen talks to them, and it can ask a question, hey, how are you feeling today? And then the smiley face and the sad face pops up, and he touches the sad face. Well, then it will then ask questions about, why aren't you feeling well? Do you have a headache? Does your head hurt? And capturing that type of information. It can also, the person can, if they're capable of taking their own blood sugar or blood pressure, those kinds of things, you can ask questions to enter that kind of data in. Just a way for the individual to kind of get some information about their health out to other people. So then the last part here, and then I'll stop to see what questions there may be, I wanted to look at evaluating options. So when you're looking at, and this is a lot of the stuff that we're talking about in Shift, and this graph here is pretty busy, but when looking at who should be doing what, like assessment of needs or time to get a solution and the cost of a solution or funding, these are some things that obviously you're going to need to be thinking about on whether or not do we want to try to find a solution to meet this person's needs in a DIY route, or do we want to go find a company that has already created a solution specifically for this industry? And that, that's something that you as the team will have to work with the individuals to figure out what the best solution is. But there is obviously some advantages of going with a company like Simply Home that has experience in this, has the tools and assessments and resources to help you navigate getting the right solution from them, versus going out and trying to buy all of these smart home type devices and linking them all together yourself. So just some things to kind of think about. Obviously, as you all know, we have to keep the person's needs and preferences first and foremost, and making sure that we're keeping that at the center of all of the decisions that we're making, or else it's just not going to work. So any questions from anyone? I know we've gone over a lot of different solutions. Any questions about those or any other devices? Feel free to come off mute if you'd like.
Dustin, this is Jerry. I have a question. Kind of, if you do it yourself option, are you aware of any companies that provide technical support for those that need help in navigating setup?
Yes, there is one company that is called Home Smart Assisted, based out of Texas and I believe in Florida. And they're really more catering to the senior market, but I've been trying to get them to pay attention to what we're doing and to people that we're serving. But that is their business model. They don't build any technologies. They're not selling any specific kind of technology. They're just there as the experts to help you with the configuration of all of the different smart home type things. I believe they can even come in and do an assessment of your home and say, okay, based on your need, the person's needs, and say, hey, okay, so that you're worried about visitors and you're worried about stove safety, and the person wants to be able to turn their TV on and off. So then they'll go out and help you identify the devices and configure all that stuff. Good question.
That was Home Smart Systems, you said?
Home Smart Assistant. There you go, Jerry. I'll share a link of that in the chat. Any questions? Last minute questions? Cameron, did we have anything come in the chat that I maybe missed?
No, we didn't, but I wanted to ask you your professional opinion on, are there certain circumstances, or have you seen when people get to a point where there's kind of that fine line between let's continue on with DIY or let's really get more customized based on this person's priorities, preferences, and concerns? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know exactly where that line would be. I think it's just going to be a person preference and the person's needs dependent. If you're looking to solve, I'm going to call it a use case, one use case, like I need to know if the door opens at night. Going DIY is probably going to be significantly cheaper than going to full-blown professional remote support services, right?
Sure.
Which is kind of that busy graph that I was showing. What I was trying to say is you kind of have to look at all of those different areas of consideration and kind of weigh your options on an individual basis.
And I think a good tech assessment or even a good person-centered assessment can help you determine that piece as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the one in Shift?
Yeah. And really, the other thing that Dustin and I have talked about is that when we consult with organizations, sometimes just starting with something simple like a Ring doorbell or a medication dispenser can actually help the buy-in of the staff or the families to using technology as a natural support. And so appreciating the fact that you may not go straight to the customized technology and to begin with, even though that's what the person may need, because in order to get the buy-in, you may start small, and that's okay. We don't want to forget the importance of those natural supports in our day-to-day that make a difference, even for people with disabilities. That's critical.
And I think I just saw a comment from Laura that starting with a low-cost option is great for a trial. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. And, those low cost options are things that you can keep within your organization as kind of your own little AT department, or ET, enabling technology department, where you can try them out with individuals in their homes or in their work settings or out in the community. Some apps and some of these under $200 pieces that Dustin showed us would be a great way to kind of have your own little lending library to test out with folks before you get in depth with customized stuff.
And obviously, for all of you that are on there, another great place to find lending libraries is your state AT Act program. And if you go within Shift, if you go to the Find Tech page, we do have a link so that you can go find your local AT Act program, because they do, a lot of them do have pretty robust lending libraries.
And check with local providers in and around you. I mean, I know like North Carolina is it's a long state, and we have very limited access to some of the AT programs because of how big our state is. And so check in too with local providers who may be doing the technology already. We have found that people are really willing to share their time and experience, and even some technologies, just to be able to spread the word and help other providers get started.
And I'm going to
I had a
share.
quick question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, please. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm looking into the C's face, and to reminder, I believe that's the camera that identifies when someone comes into a residence or comes into a house. And I mean, we don't really use cameras too much here up in YI in terms of monitoring and tracking, but in residential programs, is there something that can detect one specific person, whether it be a wearable that crosses a threshold of when someone leaves or comes back if they're wearing it? If you guys knew offhand, I would just
Yeah,
curious, because this is a question we get. This is a question we get a lot, and I haven't come across anything. And I think it'd be really helpful, and especially in residential, having that regular door sensor. Everybody going in and out would be really tough.
Yep. Yeah. Honestly, I think the Angel Sense solution would work for that. But then you've got, you're tagging the person, which I'm not a big fan of, especially an adult. But that is how Angel Sense works. When that person has that thing on them and they cross that geofence, then an alert is pushed.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. That is a big problem. We need to look into that, see if we can find some things. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to show you is we were talking about finding tech solutions. This is also built inside of Shift in the Find Tech. ATvisor has built this amazing platform where you can come in there and search for tech based on desired outcomes of the person. So you're not searching for, I need a camera or I need a GPS thing. You're putting in a profile of the person, needs and preferences, and then it's spitting out recommendations on devices that could work to support that person.
And Dustin, while you have your screen, will you just show them real quick where to access that on the Shift platform?
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
So I will log into Shift here. Apologize if you can hear the music. My daughter sounds like she's having a party upstairs in her room with her friend, and she's like right above me. Okay, so if you're in your Shift account and you hit the menu item here, and you come to search for enabling tech, that's where you're going to find bridging apps that we went over, ATvisor, and then how to find your state's AT Act program. So that is here on the menu, and then search.
Thanks, Dustin, for doing that. Appreciate it. So anything else for today, or any shout outs you want to give to anyone, or success stories you want to share before we head out?
Thank you all for being here. This is great to see so many people.
It is. All right, well, we will close it out. You guys have a great rest of your week. And remember, we are admin at techfirstshift.org. If you have any questions about the platform or your courses or whatnot, I'm looking forward to seeing how things are going, and we'll see you back here in April. Take
Thanks,
care,
everyone. Bye.